All right, and we're back once again with the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and Game Source. Thank you so much for listening to all of our great programs. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be a great episode as always when I have this man aboard. If I was the VFU, the voice from the underground, I'd be going, "Hello, where are you, TJ? Where are you?" Because you know what? He ditched. Now he says he was sick. He says he was sick. He ditched the voice from the underground because he decided to go ahead on the lounge chair on the Love Boat. Soon we'll be making another run. And had a great time indeed. He looks refreshed. He looks just happy as a lark. It is my good friend TJ Johnson from Voice from the Underground. And I'll tell you what, partner, it's just been a great time for both of us these past couple weeks. Illnesses aside on both accounts right here for both of us. But you know what? Just a new year, a new winning streak, and a lot of good things coming up for the Lakers going forward. Although, we've got to talk about a little bit in a little bit about a little derriere issue because I'm kind of bummed about that as well when it comes to Anthony Davis.
Oh, yeah, I think AD might be sitting out a game today, huh?
Absolutely. He's not going to play in the Dallas game, which we're recording just before that game happens because of his bruised derriere, his bruised bum, per se, whatever you want to say it. I think he may be back for Oklahoma City. I really hope he doesn't, per se, because I think he needs time to heal up. And that's what the first thing I want to throw out at you. The Lakers have been playing well. They're back on their winning ways after our last discussion when it looked bleak and dark in the 4-game losing streak. They've won several games in a row. Home cooking really sure helped. Yeah. And I tell you what, now that they're on just a 2-game road streak, they're up by 4 games over Denver. Does it really, wouldn't it be nice to just go ahead and just rest the two just for these 2 games, chalk it up as 2 losses? You still have a 2.5 game, even a 3-game lead going into, another homestand coming up next week.
I think it'd be best to rest, but here's the flip side to that. And I think somebody like a LeBron and even a Kobe Bryant back in the day made it very, very clear that if they're able to play, they have an obligation to play. And it's twofold, because the fan in me appreciates that. The Midwest in me appreciates that hard work. Go in there, get your job done. This is what you're paid to do. Go out there and perform. I can appreciate that, pulling yourself up by the bootstraps and getting the job done. The Laker fan in me, who knows that the window of opportunity is rapidly closing for an NBA championship, is like, no, let them rest. Let them rest. Let them get healthy. Let them feel good going into this postseason. Getting ready to go into this All-Star break coming up here pretty soon. I'm torn because I do want him to rest. I really do want him to rest and get better. I don't. Is it a bruised tailbone? What's the derriere issue?
It is a bruised tailbone, bruised derriere. I mean, they're calling it something slightly different, but it is, for all intents and purposes, a bruised bum.
Yeah, so he fell landing on his butt.
Yeah, something like that. I've had tailbone issues. It's not fun. You can, it feels stiff. You can't move as well. Your mobility is restricted. So I get that. And I don't mind him resting. In fact, like I said, that's why you build a 4-game lead, so you can go ahead and do that. But when it comes to LeBron, and like you said, 17 years and, putting so much workload still on him, he won't step out of the game as far as being, that individual saying, you know what, I'll take a game off, get some rest, recuperate. He won't do that. He's obviously already stated that in the press, but wouldn't it be nice if he did?
Again, it goes back to that same answer. I think it'd be great. I think it'd be great if he took a game off. The flip side to it is people pay to see LeBron play. And when you're a player of his magnitude, you don't take those moments, and I appreciate that, but you don't take those moments for granted. The fact that these fans are wanting to see you play, the fact that these kids are wanting to see you play, the fact that these adults are putting down their hard-earned dollars to come out there and watch you perform. Those moments aren't lost on a lot of these players, the Kobe's, the LeBrons. So I can appreciate their desire to want to be out there and put on a performance every single night on the court. Even LeBron, who should have already sat out a couple extra games already, still hasn't. So I really do appreciate it. Again, though, the part of me is like, we're fighting for something a little bit bigger than this. We're fighting for something come postseason. We're fighting for that ability to raise another championship banner above in the Staples Center. It's more than just one game. However, to the fans, it's tough, man. It's a tough dichotomy. As a diehard Laker, I want him to rest, but as a fan, we pay money. I go to work sick. I go to work not 100% every day. Not every day, but anytime I'm sick, unless I'm on my deathbed and I can't get out of bed, I'm going to work. So even if I'm not feeling the greatest, even if I'm can't breathe, I'm going to work. So I get that aspect of it. And as somebody that would complain when Derrick Rose was hurt and when he was seemingly better, at least physically, and he still wasn't mentally ready to come back to the game, we were looking at him like, dude, what's wrong with you? You've been cleared physically, you've been cleared medically, but you won't come back to the game. Especially being from Chicago, we're about getting our work done. We're about going in, clocking in, blue collar area, put our work in, punched out, go home. But we come in and perform every day. So for somebody like a Derrick Rose that had that happen in Chicago, it didn't look good. So for me, keeping my Midwestern values, I appreciate him wanting to come out and put on a show every day. But I do think he needs to.
As do I, but you're right. He's going to go ahead and do it anyways. He's going to go ahead and pick up the lunch pail and get to work. So that's what he's going to do. So as long as he's able to do it, I'm just worried about the long-term ramifications after 17 years in the league and all that mileage, et cetera, 8 straight finals and all that. That he is going to, with the Lakers, feel it in the playoff run. That's my concern. He's going to
leading vote getter for the All-Star game, though.
He is the leading vote getter, and we'll get to that here in a second, young man. But he, is. It's just something where I'm concerned about. Like I said, I'm worried about him pulling a James Harden, where James Harden was literally exhausted in that final game. I believe it was against San Antonio, where he just, just was so tired or looked so tired that he just couldn't effectively perform. And I'm worried about that for LeBron, because you've seen it already in spots this season where he's tired, where he's not able to go ahead and get that lift like he once did. And he doesn't have the Superman LeBron type deal every single game. And when it affects him like that and fatigue sets in, and he's not going to hit his jumpers, he can't get that lift when he goes to the basket like he normally can. So it's just, to me, it's kind of concerning. And like I said, in a deep playoff run, you always have those things you have to worry about. But again, he's going to continue to go ahead and do it. So I'm going to continue to go ahead and advise against it here. At least maybe take a game or two off. I'm not asking to do, anything near what Kawhi is doing, because that's just, that to me is just very sad for the NBA fans and for a Clippers season ticket holder. That you go ahead and you see that happening. But if LeBron plays 75 games, I'm cool with that. So that I think that would be a great number right there for you. But need I digress? And if Anthony Davis plays 70, I'm happy as Lark. Because I think there you go. That should be the magic number for each.
Well, I think it's important too that those particular reasons that we go out there and we win every game that we possibly can now. So when we get to the last quarter of the season, we can allow the bench players to really start getting into a rhythm going into the playoffs, and we can allow the starters to get a bit of a reprieve, get a bit of a break, and hopefully have built up enough cushion as far as our standing in the Western Conference to allow for that. I foresee that happening. Right now, I don't think anybody's going to say that. This is just me spitballing. This is what I'm thinking. Nobody's going to say that they're going to rest from the last quarter of the season, but I kind of got a feeling the last 3-4 weeks of the season, when the playoffs are obviously a lock in, and they're not so much worried about that now. They're worried about getting their rest. I can see them starting to sit them a couple games towards the end, just to kind of get the bodies ready, get them the heads ready, and allowing the bench players to kind of get warmed up and get ready to go for this playoff run. So I think the rest is coming. I think right now they just can't, with all the heat on Kawhi for sitting as many games he has, they can't admit to that right now.
Well, apparently not, but still, it's nice to dream. Hopefully later in the season, they will look at it differently. Like you said, once they've clinched certain playoff spots and and hopefully will continue their rise as the number one seed in the West. I'm not worried about overall NBA best record.
Yeah.
I think that's something that Milwaukee's going to have inherently because you play in the Eastern Conference. So, it's just a matter of, can you continue with the number one seed in the West? I think that would make all Laker fans happy. Just truly happy on that one. But
absolutely,
I'll tell you what, my friend, there's a lot more to talk about when it comes to NBA basketball and all that. I mean, the Lakers are doing extremely well. That's great to see. And I know there's a lot of things you want to go ahead and catch up on as far as the NBA is concerned as well. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you real quick, speaking of LeBron and him leading the All-Star game voting is concerned, is the All-Star game itself, the extravaganza, as it were. And, I'm in the home of probably the worst All-Star game experience known to mankind in the NBA, and probably the reason why they'll never come back to an All-Star game, which I hope it changes. I hope that changes, and I hope that Adam Silver's long-term thinking when it comes to Las Vegas as a city for expansion changes. I know Seattle deserves one. I know they're talking international with Mexico City and London. Yep. But at some point in time, you got to talk Las Vegas because we got a basketball team. We got a hockey team that does extremely well. Got a football team, the Raiders, whether you like it or not, on the way, building a obscenely expensive stadium and all that at our cost, most of it, as far as taxpayers are concerned, which I'm, as you can hear in my voice, so truly thrilled about. Yeah. Anyways, because basically they're trying to go ahead and stick it onto the tourists.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're paying for it.
So that means less tourists will be coming to Las Vegas because they think it's not the great deal once was. And, it's a residual type of thing. That's our philosophy a lot of times. Oh, just stick it on the tourists, and they don't realize the residual effects. But I'm not in charge, so that's just all I'll say about that.
Right.
Then again, I would have tried to make a complete monorail system, but that's just, Now they want to go underneath with Elon Musk into the underground tunnels. And I'm like thinking to myself, I look at these. I go to CES this week, and I see these monorails just like, broken up like they are in the city. Right. Why don't you just complete that and save yourself a ton of cash? But that's neither here nor there.
Who are we, right?
Who are we? It's the obvious answer. But anyways. The obvious answer to me on the All-Star game, as much as I love the fact that I'm hoping one of these days that one of the teams will reach 200 points, is the fact that I just don't think there's any special deal anymore. The players don't care. This type of drafting system. Oh, I want to draft my buddy onto the team like at the pickup game. That's awesome. Yeah. And all that, the tweaks. I give Adam Silver an A for effort to trying to tweak and make changes over the course of the years to try and make it more interesting for that whole 3-night extravaganza. But you know what? When you have Alex Caruso in the top 10 for guards in voting, and you have Taco Fall possibly becoming one of the starters that are voted in by the fans in the East, it tells me that they're not taking it seriously. So if the fans don't take it seriously, why should we, or why should, more importantly, the NBA? Just give I'll put it this way. What is the best time for analysts and for the attention to rise when the Super Bowl happens? It's that period before the Super Bowl when you get all the hype going and things of that nature. Why not go ahead and do something different? Have that 2-week period off for the players so they can get their rest. Have the trading deadline somewhere in there and get the hype going with that.
Yeah, you can do that too. So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to ask you a couple questions here. The NFL has the Pro Bowl after the Super Bowl, right?
No, it's before, because the players in the Super Bowl do not play, and most of the players in the conference championship games don't play either because they just finished playing. But they'll show up and get the free ride to Orlando. But I know most of them loved it back when it was going to Hawaii every year. I don't know why they changed that, but Orlando's really cool. I just went there, so I'm not going to say anything about Orlando. But
all right. So I know with baseball, when it comes to the All-Star game, they've got things on the line, and I think the NBA could learn a lot from that aspect. I know that it'd be a bit of a radical change,
but then if you do that, it makes the season not as important.
If you do what? What was I about to say?
I have a feeling you're about to say that the the winner of the All-Star game gets the home court advantage, which to me would be troubling. And I don't like that in the baseball All-Star game because, especially when you're playing 162 games, let's say Houston's 5 or 7 games above the Dodgers when they play in the World Series. That makes that season ineffective for them in a way because they went and made all the trouble to go ahead and get the best record in the league, and it ends up only getting them so far. Same thing would go for, let's say, the Milwaukee Bucks. They have the best record in the league, yet if
but they've been playing
Andre
in the
Drummond
division.
doesn't get enough rebounds in the All-Star game and they lose, you're putting it on somebody else that could be not as invested.
Well, that's true, but let's also call a spade a spade. You mentioned it earlier. The Bucks are going to get the best record in the NBA by default because of they're playing in the weaker conference. So they're playing in a weaker conference, going to end up defaulting into the best record, whether they deserve to or not is irrelevant. They're going to end up falling into that. So how fair is it for a team that plays on the Western Conference who has to fight and scrap every game because they're playing on the Western Conference to not have an opportunity to get the home court advantage just because the Eastern Conference team is in a weaker conference? I mean, there's going to be, you can use that argument either way. I think the point that I'm making with it is that it makes some type of interest for that All-Star game. It makes there be something on the line, and then now it's not just an exhibition game, which I understand. The players are making it an exhibition game. Adam Silver, as you mentioned, is doing things to try to bring some type of excitement to it, making it a pickup type game where I get to pick my players and so on and so forth. And that's cool. And like you said, shout out to Adam Silver for even giving it a shot, even giving it some type of effort to reinvigorate some kind of life into this. Because the truth is, it's become boring. It's become a spectacle. It's become not a spectacle in a good way either. Almost like a train wreck in slow motion. I just get tired of looking at it. I prefer the 3-point shootout. I prefer the skills contest. If I had to rank my All-Star events, it'd be the 3-point shootout, the skills contest, the dunk contest, and the All-Star game. The All-Star game is probably the last. Maybe you can swap the dunk contest for the last sometimes, depending. But it's really just not exciting anymore. It's not fun. They kind of just go out there and dribble, shoot whoever the hometown heroes getting all the points, and there's no heart anymore. If that makes sense.
That does, but then again, you don't see with all the money that's out on the line for contracts for these guys, and with all the importance that they have in the endorsements and everything else outside of basketball, you don't see the type of intensity that I think you're looking for. Yeah. It's still, again, you would be thinking in the case of baseball, somebody playing for the Kansas City Royals, that, okay, why do I care when I'm 15 games out in the AL, Central? Why do I want to go ahead and play hard for somebody else's team? It gets into that kind of thing right now with baseball. For me, it's kind of hard to swallow. And people that are looking for that type of intensity where Pete Rose is going to run over catcher again, and that type of All-Star game was way back when. The people that remember it so fondly about the All-Star game in baseball and the All-Star game in basketball and the Pro Bowl, those days are over because of the money. It's all because of the money. I mean, because the fact that you've got players now with $200 to $300 million contracts, and you're asking them to sacrifice blowing out a knee, tearing an Achilles, doing something dangerous to their bodies if they go ahead and exert themselves too much in an All-Star game that could affect them for the rest of their careers. And I am on the side of the athletes on that one. And I don't think you're going to get a change, but it does make it for a less watchable product. And I just think, like I said, a radical change for me was just getting rid of the whole extravaganza. It's a whole giving the players time to rest and creating some excitement and buzz for the rest of the season by the various hype, but also putting the trade deadline and the buyout deadline right in the middle, right there during that interim. So people go in with a fresh start going into that home stretch, as it were, for the rest of the season.
That's not a bad idea. I mean, it makes the NBA continue to be year-round entertainment, right? So even if you were, let's say we did your model, we gave them a chance to take a break during All-Star weekend or All-Star week, whatever you want to consider at that point, mid-season break, whatever. So then, like you said, you keep the interest going by having the trade deadline, having the buyout deadline. So all these things that happen during that particular week. So it keeps buzz like that. I don't think it's a terrible idea at all. I think it's a great idea personally. If we're not going to change the format of the All-Star game, if we're not going to change what they're playing for, then let's just get rid of it altogether. Because as you mentioned, it's about the money. So even playing an exhibition game, somebody can go out there and twist an ankle or whatever. I mean, Kobe broke. Was it Kobe that broke Dwayne? No, Dwayne Wade broke Kobe Bryant's nose a couple years back. Well,
Yeah.
Broke Kobe Bryant's nose, and Kobe is still a competitor. He's still going to go out there and still play. He didn't care. He was still wanting to play, but he was the last of a dying breed, if you will. They don't make them like that anymore, and that's not a dig. It sounds like a dig, but it's really not, because these players nowadays are playing smarter. They're playing with their eye on longevity. They're playing with their eye on the bigger contracts. They're not playing for pride and ego and stature. They don't look at it that way anymore. And granted, us sound like old timers. One of the things go back to the way they used to be when people played because they had pride and love for the game as opposed to playing just to get paid. Truth is, it's just not the way it is anymore. So we have to adapt, learn, improvise, and move on, become better, or we're going to get left in the dust with the Gary Paytons and the Karl Malones and the Kobe Bryants and the Jordans of the game. So they got to do something, and I think that's a great idea. Move the trade deadline there, move the buyout deadline there, and let's see some fireworks. See how we can get Stephen A. Smith quoting all his sources, talking about, I just heard that so and so is going to such and such, and blah 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 blah, and we get some more watch bombs and have some fun with it, man. Do something.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to tell you a Woj bomb here in a minute, because something came up that you're not aware of when it concerns the Lakers here. But I will just say this. I know that Adam Silver doesn't want to go ahead and do that, because the owners, especially the owner who has that all-star 3-day extravaganza, loves the live gate, because when they tell you it's not about the money, it's about the money from the owners. And for the players not playing hard in the all-star game, when they tell you it's not about the money, it's about the money. So, and we'll talk about that at the very end in short detail in regards to a $1 million playoff, or as far as a $1 million tournament, so to speak, later on in the program. But news just came in within the past hour, and actually I just caught it on the Twitter in regards to, and you can check out all the news for Lakers here at Lakers Fast Break, is that Rob Pelinka just got a pay raise and a promotion. According to Woj, Ramona Shelburne, Shams Charania, the whole 9 yards, they all broke at the same time. They all says 1 hour. So, they all like to beat each other to the punch and whatnot. I wonder who hits. I'm assuming that a lot of the stuff, it usually gets to Woj and Shams at the same time, and whoever hits send first wins. That's to me. Because Shams used to be under Woj, and that's another story in and of itself. Used to, the student is now trying to beat the master in this case. So. But I'll digress on that. So I will just say this: Rob Pelinka, GM of the Lakers, has now been promoted to to basically he was getting Magic's promotion now. Yep. He's getting Magic's position that he left, which is vice president of basketball operations and general manager, plus a fat new 5-year contract. So I ask you the simple question, and it's probably as blunt a way I can say it. Does he deserve it?
No. I mean, if we're just being blunt, let's just call a spade a spade. Nah, he doesn't deserve that. Here's the thing about Jeannie Buss. I just don't understand why she's got this thing about family. Rob Blake is there because of Kobe. Let's be very clear. Kobe, 20 years with the franchise, arguably one of the greatest Lakers to ever put on a purple and gold armor. He's there because of his relationship with Kobe. So somehow he's turned his relationship with Kobe as his manager or agent, whatever you want to call him, to a vice president spot with the Los Angeles Lakers based off the strength that LeBron James chose the Lakers. Lakers didn't win LeBron. LeBron was going to LA. It was Lakers to lose, right? So LeBron was going to LA. We can say Magic pulled it off, whatever the case may be. Fine. You call it what you want to call it. LeBron chose Lakers. And because of Anthony Davis's relationship with LeBron, Anthony Davis chose the Lakers. Now, the Lakers did a good job putting together some people and pieces to complement that. But let's be very clear. A team that has LeBron James and Anthony Davis, we're already guaranteed probably about 50 wins. We're guaranteed a deep run into the playoffs as a veteran or as a player that has something to offer a team looking to win a championship. That's attractive. It's not Rob Pelinka that's made it attractive. Nothing Rob Pelinka did made that attractive. The fact that LeBron picked the Lakers, and then because LeBron picked the Lakers, Anthony Davis picked the Lakers, and because Anthony Davis picked the Lakers, now we have other vets and players that want to pick the Lakers. It wasn't because of Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka just happens to be the person that was there and happened to be the person that stabbed Magic in the back. Now, far be it for me to act like Magic Johnson had nothing to do with any of those bad things happening in Lakerland. Magic was brash. Magic was boastful. Magic had an ego. Let's don't pretend that Magic Johnson doesn't have an ego. I'm sure some of the things that Magic was accused of doing, he did. It doesn't change the fact that Rob Pelinka made it very clear that he was vying for Magic's position. Made it very clear that he was stabbing Magic in the back. To me, and again, obviously, I'm not there. I'm not in Lakerland, but I watch. I just, I'm not with it. I'm not with it. Let's put it simple as that. Blunt, sib. I'm not with it.
I'm not going to say I'm disagreeing with you on that. I will give him credit for building a nice young roster initially and having a little bit of his say into that. Obviously with Magic and whatnot and the Italian evaluation to get, I believe he was part of the Ball, Kuzma, bringing that as far as from a roster. But that nice young roster, if LeBron and AD, if LeBron doesn't join the Lakers, that nice young roster would still probably be 14th in the West right now. Let's put that out there. I mean, that you see what Brandon Ingram, all 25 points a game, is doing for the New Orleans Pelicans right now. They're nice, as far as what they've got for a future. What?
That was Magic's pick.
Was it? Well, I mean, Ingram was going to go number 2 regardless. I think right around there. I think I think that was the thing. I think Ball talked himself into number 2 with his dad, and just the hype going in that. So right. Okay, so let's say Magic. I mean, because Magic and Pelinka were supposedly working together and not even taking information from the scouts and whatnot. But again, there's some differences I would make. I would have taken Porzingis in the year he came out instead of who the Lakers took with D'Angelo Russell in that draft. But then again, there's other issues I would have taken as far as over the course of the year. I mean, they both play for different teams anyway, so it's a moot point. But I will say this, Rob Pelinka is right now enjoying the fruits of one trade, basically, where they gave the farm away for Anthony Davis. And we as Laker fans are reaping the benefits from it right now. And I'm going to answer answer to that question in regards to whether or not I feel that he deserves this or not, with the question to you is, do you think by the time of the end of the 5-year term, he's going to last it? Because do you think after LeBron gets old or maybe changes teams to play with Bronny, or AD decides to go ahead, maybe, after a couple of years playing with the Lakers, decides he wants to go ahead and move on as well, even though he's got a max contract and all that. Do you think it's going to end up not so good for the Lakers because they have given away every single asset, or virtually every single asset? I don't see by the end of his tenure it ending very well.
No, you hit the nail on the head. They gave away the farm for this trade.
But you have to sell out for AD. You have to give everything.
I don't think anybody would fight him on that. I think he did exactly what he had to do, and it's just you're just in a situation where you really had no choice. If he doesn't sell the farm for AD, he's ridiculed and laughed out of LA.
I think maybe he could have shortened the deal as far as maybe one of the first round picks, or maybe one of the swabs. I think he could have made. I mean, people can go ahead and nitpick on it. They're little nitpicks. I would probably
And they
have
will.
got, and that would have still gotten AD.
Yep.
I think you could have maybe, I know Brian Windhorst of ESPN keeps telling everybody that the Lakers bid against themselves, and yeah, maybe they were bidding against themselves, but I think there could have been maybe some tweaks that you didn't have to give away everything, maybe one or two things less, but not much more. I remember he made the mistake and had to give an extra second round pick because he made a mistake at the very end as far as the timing of the trade and when that went through in order to go ahead and be able to go ahead and sign free agents. So, he's now coming more into his own as a vice president, a GM, and now as a vice president of operations, he's going to be there for a while. But I don't see a happy ending for the Lakers 5 years down the road. But you know what? Enjoy it, Laker fans, because right now we're going to reap the benefits of it, and we better win a championship here in the next 2 years, because I think in the long run we're going to be really hurting hard.
And you mentioned that we could nitpick the deal, but you got to also remember Paul George was a lock-in to go to the Lakers, and we played the bluff, and he ended up going where he went to the Clippers. So I guess not that he didn't go to the Clippers, he ended up going to OKC and then going to the Clippers. Point is, Paul George was a lock to become a Laker at one point too, and so the Lakers said, "Oh, he wants to be a Laker, so we're not gonna overextend ourselves for that," because he's made it very clear he wants to be a Laker. They've gotten bit for it in the past. I don't blame Pelinka for giving the farm for Anthony Davis. You don't let that happen twice. So I really do feel like he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. I don't think he had a choice but to make that trade. The problem is, in 5 years, we're going to really see what comes of that trade. Now, if Anthony Davis sticks around and we can kind of build more pieces around him, great. If LeBron could play with the way LeBron's playing, he can play into year 18, 19 and still be an effective player, even if he's not 25 points, 7 boards, 8 assists. He's not a triple-double every game. He can still be an effective player, and he's of the right mentality to be able to defer. He's not the Allen Iverson superstar. He's not the Kobe Bryant superstar. He's not the pre-Portland Carmelo Anthony superstar where he can't take a back seat. He's of that mindset where if he needs to take a backseat, he can take a backseat. He's able to do so. So I see him still being an effective player for another couple of years, even after this particular season. He'll still be pretty good. So if the Lakers can kind of hold on, I think they'll be okay. If they can keep Anthony, if they can re-sign him to a max contract, then I think the Lakers will be okay. Will they be in great position? I don't know about great position because, again, you gave up the farm. Golden State is just reloading. I'm telling people now, everybody's been dogging Golden State and sleeping on Golden State. Golden State is just reloading. That's very quiet.
And they're going to get a top 3 pick.
Yep.
And either going to keep, let's say Wiseman. Let's just throw Jonathan Wiseman from, who just left Memphis. Let's just throw him out there. I don't think they would keep him. I think they would draft him and use that for, to bring a player who can win now. Because when they all come back, Golden State's going to be in a win now mentality.
Yep.
The only thing when it comes to the Lakers is, Rob Pelinka after 2 years is going to have to justify the vice president's salary and also the GM salary, because he's going to have his work cut out for him in the summer of 2021. He gets Giannis, then all bets are off. Then I'm going to go ahead and with you and I will be going, Rob Pelinka, you the man. Okay.
Yep.
All right. If they get Rob Pelinka, if they get Giannis, if they get AD, and they still have a way to squeeze in LeBron, yeah. Okay. I will definitely come around on that. And I know Laker Tom would, if he's listening, would love to, hear me turn around on that. But right now it's a wait and see. And the NBA is fluid, extremely fluid. You cannot count on things happening 6 months down the line, much less 2-3 years down the line. Right. So I am ready for anything. But right now I have to look at things in a black and white practical mode.
Yep.
My friend. And I have to say the work is cut out for him. Whether or not this extension is justified, I would have waited until the end of the season, perhaps, for me. But Jeannie, she does snap
emotional,
decisions
man.
like this. She just does snap decisions like this that you know what? Where was he going? What was he doing? He didn't have to do this. What was this some sort, was this like discussed at a New Year's party or something? I don't know. It didn't have to happen right now. Wait until the end of the year, see how far the team gets. If the team wins a championship, it is so much more justified right now than when so much more justified than doing it right now. And you know what? But then again, I'm not running the Lakers. I wish I was. Then you go, I would, if that's the case, or you were running the Lakers and you were owning the Lakers, or we ran it together, I think you and I would come to a better decision on that. There was no need to rush it now, but you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah. Just logically, just the timing is just really suspect. It just makes zero sense. Granted,
was he jumping to another NBA team or something right now? I don't know.
Granted, yes, we are in a great position. We are sitting number 1 on the Western Conference, a complete 180 from where we were last year at this time. So I get it right now, but you're having a really, really knee-jerk reaction right now. The truth of the matter is we lucked up on LeBron as far as him being healthy this season. We lucked up on Anthony Davis picking the Lakers. We're in a position now where, yes, we can do some damage this year, maybe next year too, but it doesn't change the fact that right this moment, what have we really done? What have we really done other than win a couple regular season basketball games? Though the proof in the pudding is going to be in the postseason. That's when the salaries need to be made. That's when you earn your money. You earn your money in that postseason. If you get to the postseason, you can put on that same caliber performance. You can sit out there, you can go out there and get a championship. That's when you start saying, okay, hey, buddy, you know what? Maybe you earned this. But to be a year removed from Magic leaving the way he did, to be a year removed from the backstabbing, the whispers, the things of that nature, it's just too soon. And Jeannie has been an emotional leader for a long time. She's just somebody that emotions are on her sleeve, and she likes to lead by it like that. And you know what? God bless her. I feel like there's not a real place in business for emotional decisions like that. And I don't know that this was an emotional decision. I don't know what the train of thought was behind this, quite frankly. And I think that's more concerning than anything else, is that just understanding her train of thought, the Lakers train of thought, from saying, okay, let's give this man this position right now, midway through the season, not even midway through the season, without seeing what's going to happen in the postseason, having given away the farm for the next couple of years. I feel like it's premature. Had they been able to, in 2-3 years' time, still been able to maintain a top 8 position in the Western Conference, still been able to maintain their ability to get into the postseason, having given away the farm like that, then yes, he earns his money. Yes, he earns his money. But right now, it's premature.
And you're giving him a promotion, and he has now both titles, which is great. And congratulations to him on that. But who is in that slot anyways? Magic left. You're the boss. You're running the basketball operations anyways.
Exactly.
You're the GM. Okay. Again, it's a whole thing. I know if Laker Tom listens to this, he's going to have a whole bunch to say to me on that. And I'm sure I'll discuss that next week. And then you and I will touch upon it again next week when we go back on the air. But I'll tell you what, my friend, it's just great talking to you. But before we head on out, I'm going to play rapid fire with you, because we know the game with Dallas is coming up as we say this. So it's coming up here pretty soon. I know you need time to go ahead and, after your long cruise, you need to go ahead and come back home and get relaxed on the couch, say hello to the missus, do as I do, say hello to the missus as you walk by to the TV,
right?
And get the popcorn going and all that. But before, my friend, we head on out, I want you to play rapid fire with you on these NBA rule changes, because it's something you and I off camera and off thing as to want to talk about for a little while. So I'll hit it up to you. Just say if you like it as a good idea or not, and I'll say it real quickly as well.
Okay.
The in-season tournament that Adam Silver has proposed, with $1 million to each of the winners, and obviously getting them a playoff seed as well.
Need more than that. $1 million is not going to go very far in the NBA.
Absolutely correct. I don't think it's worthless to most of the NBA players. It would be great for the 12th to 15th player, and somebody who is not on a good contract. But again, for everybody else, it's just going to be a waste of time and a possibility for players getting hurt. And the first major injury to a major star doing that type of tournament, that's out to go. That's out the door. Yeah. All right, my friend, another one right here at you. the playoffs at the end of the season for the 7th and 8th seed, between the 7th, 8th, and possibly even up to as far as the 12th seed, vying for that 7th and 8th spot.
Sounds like a wild card position to me.
Something like that, yes.
I say go for it. I don't mind that at all. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Right now, I would agree with you as far as the Western Conference is concerned, because you have everybody from, right now, San Antonio, well, actually Oklahoma City, and then is above 500, and they're playing pretty good. Then you have San Antonio, which is still under 500, but is playing good right now in the 8th spot as we speak on this. But you have like a plethora of teams right below them, down to New Orleans, that could also vie for that spot and whatnot. Yeah. So that would make it interesting. And you have Zion coming back, so that makes New Orleans interesting and all that. So those dynamics right now at the end of a season would really play out well. So I kind of like that idea, because the 7th and 8th seed are most likely going to get killed by the 1st and 2nd seed anyways. So you might as well create that excitement to get those 7th and 8th seeds by having that type of round robin 1 game tournament type deal. I think that would probably be something that creates a little interest at the end of the season.
Right.
It doesn't create much interest during the season, which I know is the problem for the NBA right now, because the ratings are down. But at least at the end of the season, you'll be good.
Right.
And last but not least, the top 4 seeds, the number 1 and 2 seeds in the West and the East, mixing and matching up based off of let's say a 1 through 4 type scenario, similar to what the college, football is doing with their playoff system, which I think should expand to 8 teams, but that's another conversation for another day. So I ask you, my friend, and I think that you should utilize the bowl systems as well, but that's another thing. I think you should go to 16, to be honest with you, and utilize those lower ranked, Dish Soap Bowl and all those ones, Bahamas Bowl, and all the other ones that are out there that don't get any love because they have these 6 and 6 teams. Wouldn't it be great if in the first 2 weeks of the bowl season you had Alabama playing, let's say, an Oregon, or let's say playing one of those gaudy record teams that don't get the love because they play in the lousy conference deals that are like 12th or 13th ranked. Wouldn't it be great if they did that? But this is a college football rant and all that, but that would be great if they had those beginning bowls specifically for that, and then you have like a playoff system, and you rotate it and all that. College football, take my advice on that. But anyways, getting back to the NBA, those top 4 seeds, mixing that all around, I'm not in love with it, because I just think it lessens the dynamic of the NBA Finals itself.
But I would like it from this aspect of it. At that point, it'll be the 2 best teams. It's not going to be just the best West versus the best East. It's got to be your 2 best teams. So if it came out to be, a cross-city rivalry where it's the Lakers and the Clippers for the NBA Finals, that would be bang. So there are certain aspects of that.
It would be really bank cool. In LA. Would we bank in New York? Would we bank in Chicago? That's the thing.
Those are the markets. Those are the markets, man. That's where the basketball meccas are. If you think about basketball, you think about New York, Chicago, LA. That's just really what it boils down to. So those are the places where it's going to be the most. That's where the place where it's going to be the most reputable. Obviously, Chicago doesn't have another cross city team, but point is, if you have your best 2 teams playing, that's what it should boil down to me. Because how many finals have we gotten to where you got the Western Conference, who's gone a 7-game series and just tooth and nail, punching, clawing, scrapping, somebody finally emerges from that just to squash the Eastern Conference? Not even close. It's like, what was the point? You should have had that Western Conference final, should have been the NBA final, because that was a series. This is the squash match. I remember watching the Los Angeles Lakers beat down the New Jersey Nets. I remember watching the Los Angeles Lakers beat down the Philadelphia 76ers. It wasn't even funny. It wasn't even fun. I remember watching the Los Angeles Lakers beat down the Orlando Magic. It wasn't fun. Nothing about that was exciting. I mean, the outcome was predetermined. We all knew what was going to happen. Nothing about that was exciting. So I'd rather see the best 2 teams go at it, even if that means they're from the same conference.
Fair enough indeed. A little bit of difference, but otherwise we agree on everything else but those top 4 seedings. Okay. All right. I could hang with it if it's LA versus LA, but if it becomes New York and Brooklyn, Yeah, I watched as an NBA fan, but I couldn't get the same type of emotion. That's what I would fear
Yeah,
about.
that would be so much fun. Could you think about that? New York versus Brooklyn. That would be. Look, all I can say is I would love to be on the East Coast at that point. Let me spend that week on the East Coast when that's going down. That's going to be nuts.
All right. Spike Lee would go nuts. That's for sure.
Yes, we would.
That's for sure. But I'll tell you what, my friend, it's been great talking today on today's Lakers Fast Break podcast. If anyone out there has any questions for us, it's at Lakers Fast Break on Twitter or LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. If you can, please send us out that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That would be greatly appreciated. But any last thoughts on the way out?
And go LA. Let's go ahead and beat down on Luka. He's getting a little too big for his britches. Got to show him what it is. Got to show him what it is.
But wouldn't he look good in a Lakers uniform?
Brother, anybody that's a player that can put up the kind of numbers that he puts up would look good in a Lakers uniform. So yeah, Luka, Giannis, anybody else, yeah, come on over. Come over to death row.
If Rob Pelinka could pull that, he might just earn his salary. His new one at that.
Maybe.
It's on you, Rob. It's on you. The clock's ticking. 5 years. It'll be interesting conversation TJ and I have then.
Yes, it will.
Yes, it could be. We'll either be happy beyond all description, or it's going to be a dumpster fire of master performance, of just truly masterful proportions right here. Yeah, and in LA with the media market as it is, it was just glorified even more. And the way the Lakers are covered at ESPN, that dumpster fire may be more interesting than a championship season in 5 years. You never know. So, because it's always as much as we love the championship teams and all that.
Yep, we love LA.
We love the dumpster fires that the Lakers,
do.
That only the Lakers can bring.
Only Lakers can do it. Only Lakers can do it that way. Lakers and the Bears. Bears have always been a dumpster fire though, so that's kind of not fair.
But and the New York market as well. The Knicks, Knicks. Yes. That's continuing to happen. Well, my friend, I want to thank you so much for joining me. I wish you and the family a happy New Year and a blessed New Year indeed, as always. Glad to see they finally got you off the love boat per se. Captain Stubing said, time to get off. And Isaac making the last drink. I forgot. Julie, yes, she was the ship's director. She was trying to go ahead and organize the last things before you get off the boat and all that. Doc, yes. How is Doc so
before my time, buddy? Before my time, man. I was not a love boat watcher.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm glad. Believe me, because that was some cheesy watching. I'll tell you right there. I cannot believe as like an 8-year-old I ended up watching the Love Boat, but that's another story.
But I tell you what, man, it was a great time just to be able to go off for my 1-year anniversary with my wife and spend time. And then funny thing is, we're talking about being able to relax. I don't get to relax. We're in the process of moving, so we got off the boat, went to the new place. Started painting the new place already, so there's no rest here. We just right back into it, bro.
Did you tell the ship company that you would have all your moving stuff in with you in the cabin along the way?
No, we didn't tell them that. That's not
okay. Because I was hoping you could try and save those moving fees, so you have all the stuff from the living room, and all that, all the stuff there, and
no, didn't work out quite like that, unfortunately.
Okay, all right. So next time, I'm trying to help you save some money there. I
appreciate it.
Yeah,
we use all the help we can get. Trust me.
Yeah, so believe me, you and I both.
Going to watch the Lakers and paint now.
Maybe we should ask Rob Pelinka for some money. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's always great to talk to you, my friend. I can't wait to talk to you next week about more great stuff happening with the Lakers right here on the Lakers Fast Break podcast.